Adam Silver is weak right now. This is wild. You know who would never do this? I forgot his name. David Stern. He would never do this. He would kill Patrick Beverley, bro. I'm telling you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode 6 of Hoop Talk, the podcast. As always, it's your boy, Hoop Talk Nas, and I'm joined by Old Faithfuls. We got TyDolla, make him holler to my left, and over there on the corner, we got Pluto with a second appearance in a row.
Hey.
Record right there.
We can take the posters off the wall.
Orlando, a.k.a. Pluto, man. Thank you for having us at your home. That's where we're at right now. That's the location for the week. We are at Orlando's crib. We got Luna. She might give a couple takes tonight, too. You may have seen her at the on the Surf Show podcast, too. But we're going to go ahead and get started, man. Get it rolling. We got the Nuggets versus the Wolves on right now. Nuggets are up. We might end up reacting to it just like we did last week. But we'll try our best to keep it to a minimum. Yeah. But we're going to get right into it, man. Just as always, we're going to get the conversation rolling with an interesting take or with an interesting question. Pluto's going to start us off with the out-of-bounds question of the day. I think he said he got a statement for us today, Pluto, man. Hit us. What we got, man?
ISO me real quick if you can in the
so we're gonna zoom you. We're gonna zoom you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the mic. I probably look cross-eyed, but anyways, I got a real beef with someone in the NBA. Y'all know who it is, man. He's making a lot of headlines. I feel like the man's 50 years old and he still carries himself like he's 23.
Type shit.
I feel like a lot of the things that's been going on by him is very immature. I feel like he could have helped a lot of NBA players out, but never really did, just off jealousy. And I feel like he's one to, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but he's like don't call the pot black if the kettle, whatever, how it goes.
Calling the kettle black?
There you go. I've never been good at those things. But I will
speaking English?
Yeah, I'm trying. But listen. I'm talking about Shaq. I feel like Shaq's the most underwhelming player to ever be in the NBA. I feel like he had every tool to be the best player in the world. But it's like it shows you what talent and what work ethic is. And I feel like those are two different things. I've seen a lot of talented people, right, through just playing sports, any sports. But sometimes what separated them was the fact that they weren't hard workers. And I feel like when you look at Shaq, he never tried to get better at the free throw line. He never really had a post move that was like a sky hook or anything. It's really the crab walk. That's what they call it. They walk you down. He really was just an athletic player. Once his athleticism and strength went away, he was just a big body. Maybe Greg Oden, after, his 10th year, I feel like a very good Greg Oden. Maybe Greg Oden was a little better. I think he had a jumper. But I was telling Ty, and before he even started, it's not that I'm hating on him. I just hate the fact that he never gives these olive branches to these players. Like Dwight Howard. Imagine if Dwight Howard would have had a Shaq in his life, to really, help him mature and get better. I feel like when I saw Kobe retire, I think we like Kobe because what Kobe did was give back. He was one of the first real superstars to give game. Because Michael Jordan wasn't really doing that. If he liked you, And I guess this isn't really a question. It's really a question for Shaq. Why aren't you happy with your career? Maybe I'm wrong. I know Tyler has a couple words he wants to say.
No, you're speaking the truth because he even came out with J.J. Redick, and he said that he's not happy with how things went in his career. He says he wishes he did things differently. He wishes that, he didn't take the entire season to get into game shape. He wishes that he took care of his body more often. He wishes that he learned more skills. It's Shaq. Shaq is going to go down as arguably the most dominant player ever to play basketball.
Can you really be the most dominant player if you can't be in the fourth quarter and you can't make free throws?
But it's weird because I'm a Shaq hater. I will preface this.
I'm not a hater.
I'm absolutely a Shaq hater.
I wore Shaqs in the 6th grade and I got made fun of.
So did I. The light up ones.
I'll still buy him.
Yeah, those light up ones I got bullied for. I got shoved in the locker a few times.
The fake Air Force looking ones?
Yeah, unfortunately. I still got a pair. But Shaq is so great, but he could have been so much better if he had a different work ethic. You look at his teammate Kobe, of course.
The epitome of what hard work is.
Kobe has said himself numerous times, if he had his work ethic, Shaq would be the GOAT. So it sucks that Shaq is so upset by things that happen in his career, Like, he doesn't really compliment players. When was the last time you saw him compliment a center? Like, an actual center. And I'm not talking about Giannis, a power forward, a center.
He actually, I mean, when I look at Shaq's career, I want to say he wasn't the alpha after Kobe and before Kobe. I think when he was in the Lakers, he was the alpha because Kobe needed that. Kobe needed a player like him. He was a shooting guard who had a player who literally sucked the whole defense up. He was playing a triangle offense, and he's known to be a mid-range scorer and someone who can get off the ball and get layups. It was a perfect offense for Kobe. That offense wasn't for Shaq because they ran that triangle offense forever.
Yeah.
That was Kobe's, offense. We can arguably say that Shaq could be the best Robin ever. I mean, he did win those Finals MVPs. He had those crazy numbers. But who in the league could guard what he was? Like, it wasn't fair, obviously. And then also when he takes those shots at Zion about his body and his weight and everything like this, and he literally was, like, coming into the NBA weighing, like, 40 pounds over before the season started.
He's working in. I have a quick question, and then I have nothing else.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you saw, a franchise superstar get traded and somebody else replaces them in that trade?
4 times.
It's really only Shaq. Shaq was the leader of the Lakers, and then they just kicked him out for Kobe.
And the Magic.
Yeah,
And the Heat.
Well, the Magic was,
And the Suns.
The Magic wasn't him. The Magic was Shaq's choice. I'll give him that. But bro, he's great. He's a dominant player, but he could have been a lot better.
Another bone I have to pick when he talks about all these superstars trading teams and going to all these places, and I mean that's what he did through his career. He went to all these teams with great players and linked up. So I mean, other than Penny Hardaway, but the other ones he went to Miami. He asked to go to Miami. He asked to go to the Lakers. So at the end of the day, I mean, we can say he did the same thing KD did. And when I think dominant, I mean, this is going to be a crazy take, and I'm used to it, and I'm done with the out of bounds. Is really where I'm getting. I think Steph Curry has a better case than me of being the most dominant player ever.
Oh no!
And we'll go after this.
No.
It's crazy because when you guys think dominant, you guys are thinking force. I'm thinking like what he is, and like
I'm thinking when it goes against Shaq, they had to change their game plan.
Overshined a prime KD.
Shaq is the reason that 10% of 7-footers were hired in the NBA. Realistically, like they would not have those jobs if it wasn't for Shaq.
I'm not gonna lie, they have bodies. Shaq.
I'm not gonna lie. I have a couple of out of everything I've heard, I do disagree with a few things that were said.
For sure.
I was hoping that the out of bounds. I was hoping the out of bounds wouldn't take us 30 minutes to an hour, but it might just because I might have to disagree with a few things. So, I mean, I don't know if we got a chance. I don't remember hearing it, but I don't think we got a chance to really get the background to why all this started. I mean, it was because of Jokic, the comments on Jokic, and Shaq was on some hating shit for the most part. Telling Jokic not really to his face, but on a video call, that he didn't think he was the right MVP, that it should have been Shea, which I thought was just some hater stuff. Nobody asked him for his opinion. There was no need to give an opinion in that situation. Just congratulate the man and move on. Mm-hmm. And that's where this whole conversation got sparked. Shaq has a history of he claims it's him trying to get the best out of players, but sometimes it could look like that. Sometimes it could just look like hate. You know what I mean, or negativity, but. A couple of things that I do want to point out that I'm not a huge, I'm not on the same page on. I don't think Shaq was Batman in the Lakers situation.
No. I gave him.
I'm sorry. I'm Robin. My bad. I'm sorry. You said Robin. I retracted.
Oh,
okay. Okay. Then I missed that part.
Finals MVPs. I was like,
okay.
I'll take it back.
Okay. So I missed that part. My bad. I think as soon as you heard that, I blanked out. I was like, oh, there's no way. but yeah, I don't think this is not about Steph. But we brought him up, and you made a statement that I disagree with. I do not agree that he outshined prime KD. I do believe that KD was a better player in that team. That's my personal opinion. In the regular season, he played better, but that was by design. Stephen Curry didn't make that choice. Stephen Curry did decide that to make you fit, to make this work, I will take less shots and I will take less responsibility because you will make up for those shots that I'm not taking. So I don't think he outshined him. I do believe he got outshined, but that was by design. So outshine might be a stretch, and I won't use that word because he didn't get outshined. It was just that was a design, that was a choice he made, and I think that shows maturity. That shows a winning mentality. He knew what needed to happen to succeed. So, but this is not about Steph, so I'm not going to dwell too much on that. But yeah, I agree with the whole notion that Shaq could have definitely accomplished far more if he had the work ethic that some of these other legends had, like Jordan, like LeBron, like Kobe. And he was just as dominant as any of them. You know, he was just as unstoppable as any of them. So his career was short-lived. It could have definitely lasted longer. He wasn't very injury-prone from my personal memory.
He had a lot of those like minor injuries that added up. He had a ton of ankle injuries. He had,
but that was also when he was a little bit older, though, too, right?
Yeah,
So,
but I mean,
My hot take would be I think Shaq
10
has
seasons.
the shortest prime years of any superstar. That would be the out of bounds take.
I think it looks like it, but the issue with Shaq
is
he entered his prime when he was in with the Magic, which was what, like 97, or realistically 95, and then he ends his prime realistically when he gets to the Heat. It looks like it's not as long, and I'm a Shaq hater. I'm telling you, I don't fortunately pay attention, but he was in his prime for a long time.
I don't think Shaq entered his prime on the Magic. I think he entered his prime on the Lakers. I think Laker Shaq is the Shaq that we know as dominant, whereas he was dominant on Orlando. I don't know how to put it into words. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I think the offense didn't fit
weird.
Shaq in Orlando the way it fit with the Lakers. I think once he got based on the baseline on that triangle offense, I think it really worked for him. I think, like he said, I'm going to take it from Nas, the design thing, and he was designed to get the ball. They had a bunch of shooters. Shaq's job was just like what Dwight was doing on the Magic, to suck them up and pass them out. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not hating on Shaq. I just feel like it's kind of crazy for someone to talk about like working hard and all this stuff when you don't have it. You've never been known to be that. You literally got traded from the Lakers because Kobe was like, "Yo, this man does not work hard. He comes in fat. He gives me nothing." Like and that's all. I mean, I'm not hating. I just feel like you really need to look at yourself. And then Shannon Sharp's football career.
I'm hating.
Let me stop. I'm gonna just get it.
No,
I'm full on hating.
That's gonna be another conversation.
Shout out to no, this was for you.
I just want to preface this. I'm hating. I'm a hater.
But yeah, to go back to the prime thing, and then we can cap it off there. I would compare Shaq's, entering his prime similar to LeBron going to Miami. I think LeBron entered his prime in Miami. Like, that was the years that we saw LeBron as the best player basketball's ever seen. And I think Shaq did that when he went to the Lakers.
Correct.
LeBron was phenomenal on the Cavs, and he drove them to the finals, similar to how Shaq was phenomenal on the Magic and took them to the finals, but he wasn't this phenomenal player where you could say, this is the best player in the league. I think once he went to the Lakers, maybe 2 or 3 years into that tenure, this is the best player in the NBA right now. And it's similar to LeBron, who went from the Cavs. When he was on the Cavs, you could argue Kobe was still the best player in the NBA. Yeah. And then once he transitioned to Miami and started dominating, going to the finals every year, that's when he established himself as, I am the best player in this league.
And that's what it is. It's going to the finals every year. Because that's what he did in the Lakers.
That's what he did in the Lakers, exactly. That's why I compare them to their careers were similar. Once they left that team that was quote-unquote holding them back, they went to a situation that was like, okay, now I'm a winner. Now I'm unstoppable. I am the head of the snake. Everybody else has to accommodate to me now. I am the best player that this league has to offer right now.
What's crazy is they both left their teams to go to a different team. Like, he went back to the Cavs, but he went to the Heat, but they won that championship in their second year. That's actually a really good take. Great take. Except Shaq won 3 championships.
They had very similar careers, though. The biggest difference would be LeBron lasted longer on the Cavs that first tenure, whereas Shaq lasted, I think, 4 years, maybe 5.
I don't even know if it was 5.
I think it was 4 years. His rookie contract was up. But
yeah.
But we won't dwell on that too much, man. At the end of the day, Shaq, man, you got to stop the hating shit, man. Jokic deserved that MVP.
7 years with the Cavs.
7 years with the Cavs, yeah. So, yeah, LeBron lasted longer on the Cavs. But Shaq, man, stop the hating shit, dude. You know, Jokic deserved that MVP. And we're going to give our opinion on that MVP award because he hadn't won it last episode. So now he finally won it. So we're going to give our take, man. But let's get right into it, man. We got a lot of topics, a lot of new things that are happening. We're going to breeze through it, and then we're going to talk about some end-of-season awards, updates on that. We got 3 awards that were updated. But, yeah, let's get right into it, man. A couple of topics of the day. We have, Glenn Big Baby Davis. I hope y'all remember Big Baby had a pretty decent career.
Doofus.
Yeah.
Second doggy.
He was just sentenced. He was just sentenced to a little bit over 3 years in prison, I'm assuming, for some sort of fraud attempt, or I don't know if it was successful or not. But I'm assuming it must have
I
been
can tell you
successful.
exactly what it was. This is the wild part. They were forging medical documents, and one of the things that they did, they went to the same doctor. They operated on the same tooth multiple times. And while they were doing this, when they went through the investigation, they tracked his phone to see where he was at the time, and he was in Paris while he was saying he was in Miami, getting the same tooth worked on as they have done numerous times.
So how did that work? What were they getting out of it? How does that work?
They were getting reimbursements from it. I'm pretty sure it was money laundering.
Oh, so they were paying out of pocket, and then the insurance would reimburse them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When I hear that, I usually be like, "Yeah, you guys got him," but damn, that's wicked. Actually, to me, that's crazy. That
There was a bunch
that
of
was
players though.
going on.
I think he was
Yeah.
just the first one that got
Tony
that
Allen
got-
was a
too, I
ringleader,
think, right?
I think Glenn Davis was a ringleader.
Yeah, I think Sebastian Telfair too, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I think Tony Allen, and I don't remember who else.
It's a big list. I think everybody else is still in trial. No, isn't that how it's working?
Yeah, it's crazy because Tony Allen's got his jersey retired in Memphis pretty soon. He's getting retired this year.
They're not gonna retire anymore.
No, it
No,
happened
still will.
after. It just happened recently. They said they're going to do it.
Whoops.
Tony Allen. Yeah.
Are you looking something up, or are we moving on to the next one?
I'm not gonna.
Oh, we're good. All right, and then a small news: we have Suns hire Mike Budenholzer. I think that just happened yesterday. I don't think he's able to sign the contract yet, but I think it was an agreement, verbal agreement. I think 5 years, $50 million.
5 years, $50 million.
5 years, $50 million. Mike Budenholzer. I'll tell you my take first, and you guys give me your opinion. I don't know how much of a fan you guys are of Mike Budenholzer. I am a huge fan. I think he's a phenomenal system coach in regards to what he is able to bring out of players. He did it in Atlanta. What he was able to do in Atlanta was phenomenal. He made 3 of those players all-stars that should not have been all-stars.
16-win team also.
Actually, 4 of them. I think the only one that didn't make an all-star was DeMarre Carroll. It
Those
was
are the Atlanta
Korver.
Hawks, right?
Yeah, Corver, Teague, Horford, and Millsap. All 4 of them made the All-Star, and it was strictly off of just how amazing they played as a team during the regular season. It was phenomenal to see. It was phenomenal to see. Like, I've never seen a team that was so cohesive with very little, superstar talent. You know what I mean? Or let me rephrase that. With no superstar talent. They didn't have a superstar. They had guys who were, very talented. Like, Millsap was great. Horford was great. Teague was great, but man,
Kyle Korver was pretty nice on the offense.
Kyle
too.
Korver was phenomenal, and what he did in that team is phenomenal. Just in general, phenomenal is the word of the day. But what he did in Milwaukee doesn't go recognized enough. I think he made the difference in Milwaukee, 100%. He turned Brook Lopez's career around. Brook Lopez doesn't just wake up and turn into this player. Mike Budenholzer tells him, this is the player we need you to be. If you want to have a long career, listen to me. You know what I mean? That takes a sit down. Let's sit down, bro. Let's talk about this. Let me show you the numbers. Let me explain to you why this is who we need you to be. We need you to be a defender. We need you to be a shot blocker. We need you to be a defensive player of the year caliber guy. We need you to knock down these threes. Here are the numbers. This is why. If you're ready for this, we will pay you as much money as you want, and we'll pay you for a long time. And that's what he did. But Brook Lopez, Budenholzer, and, of course, Jrue Holiday were the biggest differences on that team. Of course, Giannis, took his game to an MVP level and a Defensive Player of the Year level. So, of course, everybody on that team was phenomenal. But I love Budenholzer, and that's my little rant for today, man. I think that's a phenomenal hire because of the fact that he is more geared towards what he's able to make a team do offensively, which is what he proved in Atlanta and what he proved in Milwaukee. And I think this is a very offensively driven team, which I think he'll fit in perfectly. Now, does he save the day for them? I don't think so. But will they look better? I do believe so. I do believe they will look better. They will look more cohesive. And the last thing I'll say to finish off my rant is I'm 100% positive he will bring Bradley Beal off the bench. I'm 100% positive he will.
Yeah.
I have a weird take because I think Bud's gonna be amazing for them in the regular season, but I think Bud has a lot of the same issues that actually Darvin Ham has. Darvin Ham came directly from Bud. Bud has an issue with calling set offensive plays consistently. Bud has an issue with using players the wrong way. So when I say that, I mean like look at Aaron Gordon, for example, and compare his play style with the Magic versus the Nuggets. Mike Malone figured out, the optimal way that Aaron Gordon is going to play. He's going to play in that dunker spot. He's not going to take as many threes as he was going to, and he's not really going to be that primary ball handler. Bud had that issue with every team that he's played for consistently. He plays people out of position for what they realistically excel at.
What's an example, though?
What is his name? Eric Bledsoe, for example. Eric Bledsoe, he would spot him up. Before they got Jrue Holiday, he would sit in the corner, and that was not Eric Bledsoe's game. Eric Bledsoe is not a spot-up shooter. Yeah, he's a ball handler.
So I want to challenge that for a second. Is that really Budenholzer's fault, or is that Eric Bledsoe's inability to adapt to what the team needed?
But if you can recognize that he's not adapting, why are we continuing to try that?
They didn't. They let go of him, and they got Drew Holiday.
Now that took, 3 years?
But they figured they decided they took a long time. Yeah, you're right. But they figured it out. They said, okay, this is not working. You're not the one for us. Drew Holiday is.
Would that be a coach thing, or would that be the front office at that point making the decision that this wasn't working?
I think it's both. I think both have to collaborate. They talk to the coach. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, coach, like, this is statistically, this is not working. This is what the numbers are showing us. What do you think? Do you want to keep him, or do you want to let him go? The coach, sometimes can fight back. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes they don't have a say in it. But in that situation, my personal opinion is that's Eric Bledsoe's fault, not Budenholzer, because of what I just explained about Brook Lopez. He put Brook Lopez in a different situation. Brook Lopez bought in. Yeah. It's up to Eric Bledsoe to, especially, and I said I was going to stop ranting, but I'm a fan. I wanted him on the Lakers. That's why I'm so adamant about this.
I'm happy the Lakers
I wanted him on the Lakers because think about it this way: it's up to Bledsoe to adapt to that in the summer. You know what I mean? If it took them 3 years, why did he not adapt in 3 years of summer workouts? You know what I mean? Like,
he realistically did not adapt in the last 10 years that he played.
Exactly.
Not even just the 3 years, but that's what I'm saying. Once you recognize that that's a player that you have, I think some adjustments, he should have primarily been bringing the ball up. But, the experiment with Giannis worked out. They were able to use him as a ball handler. And, they came out better. But there was some definite issues that the Bucks had that.
I just don't know if I would say that's Budenholzer's fault. I think to solve the issue was Bledsoe. They let him go.
My take on all this whole thing with Bud is, I mean, it's a well-known thing. Bud is not a good second-time adjuster. He's not good at coming out and switching his game plan. He is a very old school mentality, just like Darvin Ham. We're going to stick to it, and sometimes that does give you games where you come back and because you're being consistent. But also, this is a game of adjustments. We see the Eric Spoelsters, we see the Jason Kidds, we see the Nuggets coach, Mike Malone. We even see the Timberwolves coach. Like, they make these adjustments need be. If this player can't do this in the fourth quarter, Rudy, you're sitting in the fourth quarter. We can't have you in there. You're a liability. At the end of the day, with Bud, and especially that Suns team, you got to know when to pick your poison. And I feel like that Suns team can be the best scoring team in the NBA, but at the end of the day, one, he's not a finisher. Yes, he can work with a lot of different pieces, and I think he's good at putting people in the right spots. I don't think he's always been great at it, but there's one person I always think about when they signed a big contract is DeMar Carroll. This man got DeMar Carroll a nice little mid-level contract with the Nets, and then after that, we never heard from him again. I mean, the other players were decent players. They were good players, but I always think about that one player because, no, he was an all-star, but he averaged, I think it was like 10 points around there.
Like 13.
And he was their best defender, their wing defender, he was supposed to be the LeBron stopper, but not right now. But my take on it is I just feel like, consistency, but I don't think this team needs that. I think this team needs someone who's going to come in and be able to be creative. Give them space. Show them something. Regardless, whoever came in there, we're either going to get rid of him or he's going to have to accept his bench rule. No matter what coach was going to walk, whether it be a new coach, it might have took a little bit more longer for him to do that. And this is where I got to give Nas some credit. I think he's walking in and he's already shot him a text message. You can be the best six man in the NBA. I already think he's done that. So at the end of the day, time will tell, and it's all about adjustments. And that's my thing. This is my beef with people who get rehired in the NBA for 3, 4, 5 different teams. It's like, what's the point of having this guy if they let him go before? Why is someone else not getting a shot?
But it has worked out for people in the past. Look at Frank Vogel.
I think experienced teams need experienced coaches.
Frank Vogel got fired by the Pacers, got fired by the Magic.
Vogel also got one of the most, and I hate to say it because I'm a LeBron fan, you know that, but one of the most suspect NBA championships with the Lakers ever. I think it's whether you want to say.
Let's not do that today.
It's all perspective.
Let's not do that today.
No, but it's true though. It's a conversation.
It is a conversation. It's a bad one, but
we should have a conversation for another episode because I want to fully delve into that. I think it's a good idea. We should rank our championships.
Yeah, and I think it's hard, but there could be an argument that some people can be like it's whatever team was there, but I don't want to get into it because I can see Nas' eyes already. But at the end of the day, before just end my take with Frank Vogel, I know you said that there are all those conversations, but that's very far in between to find someone who didn't succeed somewhere, and then because I feel like we always talk about the head of the snake. coaches are really the head of the snakes. Whatever teams they're with, usually organizations will stick with a coach who's a great coach. Tom, the dude with the Steelers, I always forget names. The coach for the Steelers, I feel like Jason Kidd with Dallas. You can see those teams that keep Eric Spoelstra with the Heat. They're never letting him go. And it's looking like right now the Clippers with Tyronn Lue, because they done had the worst. They had the best players hurt, and he's one with their substitutes, their bench players.
Tyronn Lue's a good coach. People still sleep on him. I do think he's very good at making adjustments, and he's also a very good player motivator.
Lue arguably is, and then you got Greg Pop. There's coaches where their team embody them, and then there's coaches that they embody their team. Yeah. And we're gonna see soon with these OKC teams. We're gonna see with Joe Mazzulla, because that's one coach that I love. That I feel like his team, the reason they're playing different is because they're embodying him, the never give up spirit. And I don't want to get into a tangent about which coach is this and that, but if he's able to make this team his team, and he does what he did with Atlanta, if he does what he did with the Bucks, they have a chance to win a championship. But it's all about adjustments when we get to where we're at in the playoffs. I'm
gonna say this, and then I'm gonna stop. There's a few things as well with Bud we have to remember. He has never played on a team that didn't have an initiator at the point guard, whereas with the Suns, you most likely are gonna have Devin Booker playing that position. They don't really have any cap space to make anything happen. But then too, I do want to make sure people understand. I do think that the Suns are gonna have a great regular season. I think that 50, even 55 wins is possible. I do not see them getting past the second round.
Yeah, that's the cap for them.
Okay, good. As long as we understand that.
Which is improvement, though. You know what I mean? So, but of course, that's not what they want.
An old team. That's not good.
But moving on, I think Bud's going to do good. But moving on, we also have my good buddy Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers actually smacked the crap out of a high school team that I lived next to back in Brevard County, back when he was in Winter Park High School, back in the
Volusia County too, man.
Yeah, I think he did it to every county he was a part of. Florida. But Austin Rivers has been making news lately because of a statement that he made. Now, I do feel like this can turn into a long conversation because I feel like we're gonna have our debates, but let's be mindful of our time today.
Okay.
But let's just hear out. I'm even going to put it on the screen, so I'm actually going to pause for a second to put it on the screen and make sure it fits in very well there.
Pat Riley's press conference, if you listen to the whole answer about Tyler Hero, he wasn't calling him a bitch.
No.
He was just saying that he had been a little fragile, and then nobody works harder, and he changed the way he works out. He went on to compliment him, but if you just take clips and he's fragile, it's like, oh, he's calling him a bitch. Nobody wants to be called fragile.
Nobody.
That is the last thing you want to be called as an athlete, no matter how soft your sport is. Like basketball, and I'm a punter. So
you're slowly coming our way, though. I can already see it. You're getting more into it. Look at you. You're talking about the Cavs today. You're stretching out. We got to get you outside of that football lane, man, where the guaranteed contracts are, where the best athletes in the world are. That's us. I could take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA.
Whoa. It's because you only allow 5 on the court. Let's all relax.
It's because you get a break every play. All you got to do is catch the ball and run north or south.
Listen.
But Austin Rivers, as you guys will see there on that video, stated that he could find 30 players in the NBA and plug them into the NFL right now. But he believes it is impossible to find 30 NFL players and plug them into the NBA. I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't think you can find 30. I know there was an age-old debate of what players would translate better. Would NBA players translate to the NFL, or would the NFL players translate to the NBA? That's a different discussion than what Rivers is saying. He's talking about 30 players. I'm sorry, Rivers, you're a guy. You're my guy from Duke. I love Duke, but come on, man, you're out of your mind. You went to a private school and you're dumb like that, man. Like in my opinion, there's no way in hell. I'm sorry, there is no way in hell you can find 30 NBA players, and I'm talking about legit, top rotational players. You know what I mean? You can't dig into the bench into some guy who did play college football and decided to translate to basketball. You know what I mean? That's not fair. You know what I mean? You're talking about the 9 or 10 best players on the team. You're telling me you can find 30 players that can play in the NFL? I'm sorry, there is no way in hell.
I
There
think
is
more.
no way in
I think
hell.
more and more. I think you can because now that I'm thinking about it. One thing that we
No
never
way
even
in
talked
hell.
about. Jokic could play center.
No
Joel
way in
Embiid
hell.
could play center.
They're too
No
tall.
way in hell.
They're way too tall.
You don't think that their center of gravity still kind of works out for
Chop block.
for center though, specifically center?
What I'm talking about when I say chop block, because I was actually better at football than basketball. Chop block is when they go for your knees and they cut you down. There's a height limit, I feel like, in NFL. I feel like after like 6'6", you're kind of like you're outside. You're an outside lineman, and then on top of that, you have to be fast in spurts. And I think basketball players are fast, but they're more of like a long distance speed. And to kind of touch what Nas says, a lot of the players that go to the NFL are like those Charles Barkley kind of guys that played undersized big man. Like they're 6'6" playing power forward, or they're 6'5" playing power forward. They have a certain build to them. They're thicker, and I feel like, pause. But
That's crazy, bro.
but like really, it's a certain build. Like Antonio Gates was a bigger dude. Tony Gonzalez also played basketball. Was a bigger dude. They weren't like skinny guys. And in the NBA now, we got Ferraris. We don't have like Cybertrucks. There's not a lot of Cybertrucks. There's like, you say Djokovic, but he's too big. You say Joel Embiid, but he's too big. Really, I mean, there's probably maybe 10 NBA players right now who I would be like
At best.
LeBron
At best.
playing tight end. I mean, the LeBron's obviously, you can put him at any sport, and I feel like he could be successful.
Can you name 5 players that you think would translate in their positions?
John Morant, wide receiver.
Okay,
Oh my God,
perfect. We
That
talked
would be
about that.
insane. That would
I
be
said
insane.
prime Westbrook at wide receiver as well.
for sure.
We can name 10. We could definitely name
Yeah.
10. I can, if we name 10, 3 will be debatable. 3
Yeah.
will be debatable. 6 or 7 would be solid. We could put them in
What would
there.
be the common position? Wide receiver.
Wide
right?
receiver.
Wide receiver, tight end, or running back.
Wide receiver, tight end, or running
I don't
back.
think they could play
Anything that
running back.
requires you to run in a straight line.
I think also middle linebacker too. I think that there's a few people with the height that would work.
I'll tell you one position that you will not
Marcus
find a
Smart.
single.
Yes.
a
Lou
single-
Dort.
There's not a single NBA player in the league right now that can play the defensive line. I promise you that, or offensive line. They'll get torn to pieces. They'll retire within
Kenny
the first
Lofton.
3 games.
Kenny Lofton.
Please.
That man is
a crazy
Would you
take.
count LeAngelo Ball?
Huh?
LeAngelo Ball did play a partial season in the NBA. He played 1 game.
And what? He played high school football?
No, he played NBA. He played 1
No,
game
but
with the
you're
Hornets.
saying move into the NFL.
Do you
right?
think that we could play him in
Did he
the
play
NFL?
high school
He actually
football?
is-
No, he did not.
So then what are you talking about? Because he's big?
He played basketball. He thought it was
But
going to be better.
a lot of these NFL players were college power forwards who kind of just walked on.
A lot of
They
them
were
also
playing
played 2
football.
sports.
I'm
Yeah,
not
they didn't
gonna.
play football their whole life.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie. 30 is a crazy number, so I'm gonna chop it down to 10.
10.
I think we'll have an easier time finding 10 NFL players that could play in the NBA.
I don't think so.
Bryce Sensabaugh,
a lot of these
wide
guys,
receiver.
probably were pretty decent at basketball when they were playing.
But they're playing football.
Yeah, they are. Same thing for the NBA players. They were
You know
probably.
why? Because the rosters are deeper in football.
Look at like Allen Iverson was raw at football.
Bro, look at LeBron.
Nate
LeBron was ranked
Robinson,
the number 1 tight end.
LeBron. You know what I mean?
I don't think they're having. I think LeBron's too much. Man, he's.
Is
a
his
player.
discussion all time or current? That part I never knew.
I would think current because if
He
you're
said
talking
right
all
now.
time, a lot
Yeah,
of
he said right now. You're right. He did say right now. You're
Okay,
right.
yeah, I take it back. I can name 5
I could name 10. I could still name 10.
comfortably.
Comfortably, yeah. Comfortably
Yeah.
5, debatably 10, yeah.
I think I
Debatably
could name
30.
10 comfortably.
Debatably, hell no. That's hell no. Once you get to 13, I'm gonna be looking at you like you're crazy. Like
I
every
give you 10 right now.
You don't think Nikhil Alexander-Walker could be a strong safety?
No.
no,
I don't
That's
think
a
he could
different-
either.
safety.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
he could either.
I don't think NBA players are built to hit.
I don't think NBA
I think they would end
players.
up being corners.
I don't think NBA players can play defense on the NFL field. There's no way.
I think they can
couldn't.
play corner, a good
Corner-
defender.
corner
I think
and-
Marcus
Corner?
Marcus Smart can be a really good
Who are they guarding in the NFL?
Man, I'm not going to lie. That speed is
Are
different.
we
in
saying
the
that they
NFL.
have to guard them successfully, or because like I don't expect anyone to go there and they're going to guard Jay Jetta?
In a zone, I think Marcus Smart can hold his own.
Yeah, like I'm not going to put someone on like Amon St. Ra or something. Like I'm going to put them on. Hopefully Ben Roethlisberger is the other wide receiver.
He's
That's
not
the
a
goal.
wide receiver.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully, that's. Bro, you're going to get these guys an off season
like
to
that
hop right to the
joke.
NFL. They got an off season to figure out football. That's not
I am a
happening.
basketball guy at the end of the day, but like I know it's
I
just a
could name
crazy
10,
concept.
though. That's crazy. I'm still stuck on that. I can name 10 for y'all.
Bro, let's do it right now. 10.
Okay,
Zion,
Derek White.
Zion, what position is Zion gonna play?
Zion playing tight end.
Zion playing
6'7".
tight end.
I told him
6'7".
Zion is quick,
Travis Kelce's 6'7".
bro. I was
Travis
telling you
Kelce's
that.
huge.
Travis Kelsey's like what? 220,
Tony Gonzalez was
235,
6'5",
240
6'6".
maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Zion's way bigger than him.
Exactly, that's a problem. He's
If
not gonna
Megatron
move
could play
like
wide receiver, then I think Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
Megatron is a generational talent. That doesn't come along.
But we have to make it fair. We have to assume that they're also going to be generational talent.
Oh no.
I could name some legit people though that could really. Another person who actually was about to do that
crazy.
NFL is the point guard that they picked up on the Nets this year, Dennis Smith Jr. He was actually training to go to the NFL. They were telling him to go play receiver. There's a couple players I can legit.
Pat Connaughton also he was drafted MLB and he also played football.
But you see how we have to dig into players who barely can make it into an NBA roster? Like that's a part of the conversation we have to have too.
That's why those NFL players.
That's not the conversation that he had.
We're digging deep though. Like
I think the context. Let's take it out of context. I think what he was trying to say is it's a lot harder to be an NBA player than it is an NFL player, and I think we can all agree.
Which I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
He should have just said that. Though.
Right, 100%.
Instead of being such a dickhead.
Like I want to see his grades in Duke. No wonder he was a 1-year player.
He is from Orlando. I mean, he's Winter Park, right? So shout out to Austin, though.
No, Winter Park does have some great high schools, though.
Yeah. He just has he's always had an issue with being around the bush. I feel like that's following his career as well. But
podcasting is not for him.
He should definitely definitely really think about what he says and just says it, because I think we would all stand behind that. It's way harder to be on an NBA roster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a completely different skill.
Yeah, not to say it's not hard to be on an NFL roster. Of course, it is difficult. It's just by comparison, it's harder. But moving on, I got a couple topics from the WNBA. We haven't talked about women's basketball in a while, man, but it is on the rise. I still stand on my same take, man. I do not believe the WNBA has the resources to make this work long term. They're going to have one great season. They're going to have possibly 2 great seasons. I'll even be willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and say 3. But once they start getting to season number 4, I feel like they're going to fumble. And I feel like they've already fumbled. And one of my topics that I put on here, the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese's debut was not televised.
It's crazy.
That doesn't make any sense.
She balled out.
I understand that Caitlyn is the one right now, but like ride that wave. You know what I mean? People are going to want to watch these girls. They're going to want to watch Caitlyn. They're going to want to watch the center that they drafted as well. I believe Angel Reese even started, if I'm not mistaken. But and she also had a great game. It was a preseason game at the end of the day, so that could also play a factor.
Did the tall girl that got drafted from South Carolina start too?
Yeah, I don't know who started and who did not.
Well, that's a really good duo. That's a good duo to pick up. I always thought that.
I don't know who started or who didn't, but I know it wasn't televised, and I feel like it should have been. As their debut game, Angel Reese has enough popularity to where you can reap those benefits a little bit. But just because it was a preseason game, I can give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think they fumbled the bag there.
And
you guys have anything to say? Go ahead.
Mid-conversation, we're able to see on the screen there's that board that tells you what's happening next. It's still the Fever on there. There's no game about the Sky. So even in the NBA games, they're still advertising only Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, which I fully understand. But, like, ride the wave. Don't just stay, like, stagnant with one name. Like, you can really help these girls get somewhere. Like, ride the wave. Like, that's my opinion.
I feel like – you want to go, Tyler?
No, go ahead.
I feel like it kind of sucks because they're not mimicking the NBA. And I hate to say it because they are the women in the NBA, but their job is never to be as big as the NBA because they are a century behind the NBA in the sense of, like, media, in the sense of, like, what their benefit, how the players are making money. They're far away, but what they had was Larry Bird. What they had was Magic Johnson. What they had was Michael Jordan, and they televised all of them. They televised Clyde Drexler. They televised Shaq. And that was they televised, what's his name? The dude from the Knicks.
Ewing?
Yeah, Ewing. They televised him. They televised the Dream Hakeem. But they televised everybody. And when I see that, they don't share love in the media. I think the women NBA's problem has always been looking for their Michael Jordan instead of looking for those pieces that make people want to watch. Yeah. I love Angel Reese. I want to see what she's doing at a professional level. I love Caitlyn as much as I love Angel Reese. I don't really have a favorite. I just think when you watch Caitlyn, you get a different type of basketball, obviously. You get that new basketball, and you see it in a woman's sport. You don't see someone as dominant as her. And that whole claim where she was going to not be splashing as soon as you get there. Splashing. First day on the court.
Cross that girl over right away.
We had Joanna Man. They got Clayton Clark, man. I'm telling you. She's nasty, man. She's nasty.
But I think it's. I mean, it's preseason, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think the secret for the WNBA is keeping that rivalry going as much as possible. Because, like you said, we didn't go straight into Michael Jordan. We went into Magic. Well, realistically, we went to Kareem, and then we have a rivalry. We have Magic and we have Bird that come in at the same time, and they continue that rivalry that they had in college. You have that opportunity with them too.
Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah,
they were really showing the love to all the teams, and that's how they made it such a marketable league at the time. I mean, Michael Jordan just took it from like this to like international.
Yeah,
that's the difference. But my bad, Don. Go ahead.
Very good. Excuse me. I think their issue is they think Caitlin Clark is the Michael Jordan of their generation. Yeah. When she's not. She's the Magic and Bird of their generation. She's the one that's going to change the game for Michael Jordan to come. You know what I mean? And Michael Jordan could be Juju. You know what I mean?
It could be Paige Beckers.
Or it could be Paige Beckers. You know what I mean? Like, but she is the Bird and Magic to bring the awareness. Like, we are just as great as every other sport. You know what I mean? Like, just like the NBA struggled to make a name for themselves, competing against the MLB and the NFL, Bird and Magic gave them an appeal that was like, okay, let's put us on TV.
I think she might even be the Julius Erving because she came before Larry Bird and Magic. I think Juju and Paige could be the Larry Bird and Magic. And I'm just trying to expound on what we're saying because I feel like that is a good take. I think she's Julius Erving. Julius Erving was the one who made it cool to watch basketball. She's making it cool to watch women's basketball. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they're doing what they have to do. But Julius Erving also had people. He didn't win a championship. He wasn't Michael Jordan. Like he's saying, we don't have the Michael Jordan of girls basketball yet. So
yeah, it's a process.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And we'll see how it goes. At the end of the day, I could be wrong, but I'll stand on this mountain. I don't think they have the resources to make it work, but they could get them. They could get them. They could change it around, and Caitlin could be the catalyst that makes that happen. So. I'm rooting for them, man, because I do want to watch more WNBA this year. I think that's going to be something I commit to. I'm going to watch more games. I am a Elena Delle Donne fan, but I know she's at the later stages of her career. And I do like the LA Sparks. I do have a crush on Lexi Brown. Luckily, my wife does not watch this podcast, so I'm good. But
I'm DMing her right now, though.
But moving on to the next topics. We also got a few end of the season awards revealed. Not a few, all of them are done now. We got a Rookie of the Year. I think we can, breeze by that one. I think we all expected.
I can't believe Chet didn't win.
Victor Wembanyama or Victor. Have you guys know on Flight?
What does he call it?
What bananas? Victor
Flight crew stand up.
Victor with bananas.
I like what they did for him in that little rookie ceremony where they had all the things talking.
Yeah, that was dope.
That made me have goosebumps, and it looked like he was fighting back too.
That was dope. It looks like it's making you cry right now.
Nah, I just
That's a damn lie. He was crying earlier.
We paused it for a second. You guys can see that little glitch, that little edit, because he started crying out of nowhere.
So happy for Victor.
No, but yeah, Victor with bananas won the Rookie of the Year.
That is not his nickname. Victor with bananas.
Defensive Player of the Year went to Rudy. I think we've had this debate too many times, so I don't want to really stick to that too much. But Rudy Gobert
deserved,
well-deserved, won Defensive Player of the Year. I get the back and forth there. I'm not against it, but shout out to Rudy for being the 9th player to win four Defensive Player of the Year awards.
3, I thought
he has 4. That's his 4th one.
That's right.
Yeah, that's his 4th one.
I thought it was 3.
He's up there with I think with Dikembe Mutombo, Ben Wallace. Dwight Howard has 3.
Oh, that's why Dwight Howard. That's why Dwight Howard was kind of showing him hate on that All the Smoke podcast.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And then Nikola Jokic, of course, brought home the MVP. Which I had one take that honestly I didn't even think of the take until yesterday. That message I sent in that chat with Rob. That's the first time I ever even thought of it that way. But Nikola Jokic, you were gonna say something?
I was gonna say something inappropriate. Never mind.
Nikola Jokic winning MVP, even though a lot of people did have Shea winning and thought that Shea should have won. It does make sense because one thing that I thought of just recently is the fact that it's difficult to say that Shea carried the Thunder when a lot of his teammates got way better. You know what I mean? So, of course, they were not as good as Shea. But if Shea was virtually the same player that he was last year, and the only thing that changed was the addition of Chet, the rise of Jalen, the improvement of Dort, right? If the team around him is what got better, then, can you truly say that Shea is the most valuable player when realistically, statistically speaking, Nikola's teammates either are the same or worse, right? There's not a teammate on this team. I don't remember MPJ. Maybe he got better, maybe he didn't, or maybe he stayed the same. I don't recall. But Aaron Gordon got worse. Not like drastically worse, just like very minimal decrease in stats.
He was better in field goals, but he was worse in threes.
Yeah, like very minimal decrease in stats. Jamal Murray was virtually the same. He is averaging more points, but efficiency-wise, he did go down slightly. Overall, his teammates were either the same players or just slightly worse than they were last year. So if that's the case and he still led them to a second seed, then wouldn't that in turn qualify him as the most valuable player to his team? That's how I see it now.
I think they're interchangeable. I think another thing that kind of disqualifies him, though, is the fact that their coach, Shea, their coach won Coach of the Year. I think that's another piece that people kind of looked at.
I wouldn't say disqualified, but yeah, I can understand.
I think it definitely hurts because if you have the top coach, you have some of the other players that are runner-up in the Rookie of the Year and some other awards. Like it is hard.
Yeah, true.
Shoot. Congrats. I'm gonna do the Shaq line. Congrats, Nikola Jokic, and I'm gonna kind of sound like kind of bitter, but I think when you hear MVP, you hear story.
You hear what?
You hear a story that season. You have Derrick Rose, youngest MVP player ever. You have
LeBron James is the GOAT.
I mean, we could say that all day. That's not nothing I have to, but I'm not doing that today. But you have stories. You have KD tearing up. When you think of, Russell Westbrook averaging a triple-double, like, when you hear MVP, you hear a story. And what's better than a team out of nowhere coming, winning, and being the best team in the NBA, in the West at least, averaging 30.1 points. Obviously, the catalyst of your team, whether whoever got better or not, it's the jumps they made. So, on top of that, I think he got robbed in the sense of, like, him not winning this year. I think they should have gave it to Nikolai last year. And I don't think Joel Embiid should have got it.
I agree with
last
that.
year.
What?
I agree with that.
Last year?
I still agree
He
with
was
that.
cooking last year. He won a championship last
Embiid
year.
was the best player in the NBA
He
last year.
literally sat down and gave it to Embiid.
Embiid was the
That
best
was
player.
what everybody said. Like,
I
he
still
literally sat down.
think that Jokic was the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think they were interchangeable though.
No.
I'm not like it's not crazy to me. that
Second
either
round
of them-
exit, NBA Finals.
Last year, there's no way.
But unfortunately, they don't care about playoffs because if they did, LeBron would be 9 times MVP.
Nah, I mean he should arguably have a couple more than what he has now.
Yeah.
But I mean to come down and say this, I mean not to say I don't want to go back last year because it's not last year, it's this year. But I think Shea should have won it this year. I think Nikolai did have a good year this year, but it's the story. At the end of the day, it's a story, and that's what MVPs are. They're stories, and I don't think the Nuggets really had a season where we got to get to the playoffs. Let's be higher than a fifth seed.
Well, you know what's a narrative that I honestly just hate? That greatness is boring. When did that become a thing? So,
Yeah.
like, we're tired of watching the same person win, the same team be successful, the same team be dominant?
No, I love that. I love the Warriors.
I
when
love
they're
it.
winning.
I love
You might, but the consensus wasn't that.
I know, and
Right.
it's weird. Like
That greatness is boring, apparently. Like, LeBron, we got tired of LeBron going to the finals every year, right? Greatness
That
is
was
boring.
crazy.
We got tired of Jordan, or we didn't, but that generation got tired of Jordan winning championships every year. Greatness is boring, right? When did greatness become boring? So I get it, you know what I mean? Like, Nikola's just doing the same thing he did last year. But if it was great last year, why isn't it great this year? What's the
silly.
difference?
I'm not saying that it's not great. I'm saying that, like, you got to think about what looks greater. A team that came out of nowhere and became the first seed in one of arguably the tougher division, which is the West. So, I mean, when you look at it, like I said, I'm looking at it as a media. I'm surprised that Shea didn't get more love this year. Him and Pablo. I mean, not even just an MVP race. I think Pablo did not. There's a couple NBA players that they go under the radar just because of where they're at and, how the media decides. Next year, he's not going to get a chance to get an MVP. He might never, ever get a chance like this. Because who's next? AE, which is Anthony Edwards after this. Like, they're going to push that. They're still going to push Nikolai. Then you got Victor coming. I don't think he'll have another chance to win MVP. I think this might have been the
Shea?
year. Yeah. I don't think he's getting another chance to win MVP.
I have a
Unless
question,
he
though.
averages like 35 points.
so, do you think going from such a large improvement is worthy of MVP. So if they go from a 40-win season to 57, do you think those auxiliary pieces really added that many wins?
100%. 100%.
Oh yeah, that's a big difference.
My thing is, what did Shea do? But that's much better than last year. So why?
But what did Jokic do that's much better than last year?
Jokic didn't do anything that's much better, but his team didn't either. That's the problem. So Jokic remained the same great player. His team did not get any better.
Yeah.
So if he's the second seed while he's still continuing to be great, then it is attributed to him. If Shea is the same player, but his team got better and now their record is better, why is it attributed to Shea? That doesn't logically make sense to me.
Because he's still the most valuable player. If you take him off that team, I think that they go back to a 40-win team, maybe even lower.
I'll challenge that. He is the most valuable player on that team.
But I think
does that make him the most valuable player in the league?
But isn't that usually where the trophy goes to? The best team with the best player?
No, it doesn't always go to the best team.
I'd say the
top
top three.
Teams. It's always one of the best teams.
I mean, we gotta look that stat
aside
up,
from Westbrook.
We gotta look that stat up to see how many number one playoff seeds end up with the MVP. I think that would be a very high. They were number one seeds. When I look
of course,
at it.
but that's not fair.
Because you look
to
at those
say.
Cavs years, the Heat year with LeBron, even Chicago Bull. I think they had They had the home record.
They had the number one season.
Yeah, when you look at the MVPs, usually the best player on the best team. And that's what to me Shea was. He was the best player on the West, on the best team. Whether they got better or not, they were still the best team. Yeah. And you can, I'm not saying that they were a better team than the Nuggets. I'm saying in the season, they had the best team. That's different. We know the playoffs.
If we do it that way, then Jayson Tatum should be the MVP right now.
That was the argument.
Jayson Tatum is worthy of the voting. I do think that he should have had more votes.
Should he get the MVP?
That was the
because I think Jokic is better.
That was the biggest argument.
That's my debate with Shea versus Jokic. I think Jokic is better.
Honestly, I think Kobe had a couple years. I don't know if you guys are like. I bring it back. The Muppets. Remember when Kobe and LeBron? Remember Kobe had arguably the best team in the West, but LeBron's record was better than the Lakers overall. They were winning.
But
it was
also LeBron. Like
they were pushing. I think when you say his prime years, I think the prime year started in like year after year 5 in Cleveland. With LeBron, because that's when he started winning those MVPs.
Agree, because two years after that, he goes to Miami. I agree with that.
No, but again, when you look at the Heat LeBron, it's a different LeBron, though, when you were watching him play. That's where I think he is more...
Like, mentally, he figured it out.
But this isn't about that. It's, when I'm looking at MVP, like I said, it's usually the best player on the best team, and that's why I brought it up. I was waiting for someone to say it. Jayson Tatum should have been the MVP this year if they're looking at it.
I don't think that he should have been MVP, but he should have more votes.
By how it, this is where I agree with Gilbert Arenas, and that's why I kind of go so hard with this thing. It's how it's always done. It's always the same thing. It's either a story that you're giving us, or it's all right, well, best player on the best team. Let's keep it moving. That's what happened with Derrick Rose. I don't think Derrick Rose should have won the MVP this year.
So did Embiid give us a story last year? Is that what you're saying?
He did,
because he wasn't the best player on the best team.
Embiid's story was I'm always short on getting the MVP because the last 2 years before that he was always short.
I
think that was the story.
He had an MVP and Defensive Player of the Year caliber year. That's why it was. Same thing with Giannis. And I think Shea does have a story this year that we don't really recognize. They're the youngest one seed that we've ever seen.
Talking about awards. Isn't it funny that Rudy Gobert every year he wins the Defensive Player of the Year? There's another player that could have potentially won it. Joel Embiid, Victor.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of funny?
Always.
The other guys were super dominant defenders. There was no, when Dwight Howard was winning it or Ben Wallace, it was by far the best paint defenders. It's just funny that Rudy Gobert's awards are all Joel Embiid low key was kind of.
I think that's.
It's funny though.
I don't want to sidetrack too much, but I think that's more because the people aren't as big of fans of Rudy. So I think the consensus is that Rudy doesn't always deserve them.
Statistically as well.
He does deserve them. Statistically, he
No,
puts up the
statistically,
numbers.
I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
But
I think the consensus is that Rudy's
it.
not a fan favorite. So people don't really care for him winning these awards.
Yeah. This is the last one. You heard what Victor said. Enjoy it while it lasts.
I believe it too. That dude is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But ultimately, before we move forward, in my opinion, I genuinely do believe now that when you look at it from a bar for bar, I just don't think Shea's value supersedes Jokic because of the fact that you have to consider the team and how they performed. Shea's impact isn't necessarily to make players better. You know what I mean? He is more of a scoring one-on-one type of guy where it doesn't necessarily translate to surrounding improvement. You know what I mean? Jokic's game translates to that. So, J-Dub got better on his own. Shaq got added to this equation, and he was an amazing addition to this. Dort, Isaiah Joe being such a great three-point shooter. All these different players stepped up to the plate and provided more than they did last year. That's why they're such a better team. So I think it's odd to say Shea is the reason they're the number 1 seed. He is one of the reasons. I have to say that Jokic is the reason this team was the number 2 seed. You know what I mean? Sure, Jamal Murray is great. Sure, Aaron Gordon's a great role player. But Jokic is the reason why they were the number 2 seed, because they didn't do anything outstanding. Shea's teammates did do things outstanding this year. It's a brief little touch on Jamal Murray's little incident. What do you guys think? He got a fine, $100,000. What do you guys think? Was that enough? Did he deserve more?
Yeah, bro. That man should have been suspended.
Should have Draymond, my boy. They should have Draymond, my boy.
They are being so weak between him doing that and then Patrick Beverley throwing the basketball at that dude's face after throwing it at a woman and only getting 4 days suspension. Adam Silver is weak right now. This is wild. You know who would never do this? I forgot his name. David Stern. He would never do this. He would kill Patrick Beverley, bro. I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
I think what's crazy is I can tell the NBA picks when they want to change the guards or when they want to keep the guards. Yeah. In the sense of you can tell if this would have been any other player on any other team in the playoffs, he would have been definitely oh, you're suspended for the rest of the
or
series.
If they were up 2.
If they were up 2, regardless, they're getting anybody else. But this is an important series because this is going to define who wins the championship this year. And I think if Minnesota, it's going to be a new champion this year if Minnesota wins this series, right? I don't think they're ready for anybody. I don't think the NBA likes change as much as we try to give it to the NBA. I don't think they like change, and this is obviously a very, very blind. If you're blind, if you're not seeing what the NBA is doing, and that's I'm not beefing with Jamal Murray. He did what he did. He did
I'm beefing with him.
Ass thing, and that's
you
what
should
he did.
beef with him, man. That would be a lot of views for us.
Yeah, full smoke, 100%. He almost killed a man by throwing the heat pad under someone's
My
foot.
beef is with the league, though. My beef is with when they picked it aside. I think he should have been suspended. That's what I think. I think he should have got at least 2 games.
No,
agree with
one.
that.
One, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Imagine you throw that towel.
Yeah,
Everybody's
but you can't suspend it based off what could have happened. You just have to suspend it based on what did happen. And he I'm pretty
But
sure
it
he
sets a
violated.
precedent.
I'm pretty sure he violated a rule, and you just suspend him for violating the rule.
It should be handled the same way as when someone steps on the court. That's how I felt when someone passes the line. But kind of just wrap up what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a one game. That's a 1 game suspension.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know that all the way through. But I will say this: imagine if Cat would have stepped on that, and everybody's thinking about the game. Oh, he would have twisted his ankle. I'm thinking imagine if he would have tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
That's not forget the playoffs. That's a career-altering injury, and that's where I'm kind of at with that. But that's what it is. Again, the league picks and chooses, and you saw what they picked. And
He did something very dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound soft, but that was very dangerous.
It was.
I feel like I'm getting old because I'm
It was definitely something that he should have been suspended for. I don't know about 2 games though, but $100,000 is a pretty penny. But
yeah, it's a game check.
no facts. But moving on, we also watched that Knicks versus Pacers game. The Pacers did come out with that win, so then now the series is 2-1 in favor of the Knicks. Starting off to talk about that series, Brunson. At the time when I was writing these topics down, Brunson had 4 40-point games in a row. Since then, that streak has been finished, but he is still playing at a very high level. What are you guys? What's your opinion on Brunson based on what's been happening since the last time we talked about
Y'all
him?
know I'm a Brunson lover, but I'll let y'all go first.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause that.
No pause. I'm a Brunson lover as well. It's
Okay,
2024.
double pause. Double
2024, bro.
double pause.
Can't say you love another man?
No.
It's weird. All right. I think I obviously think he's great. I'm sorry, I got a bunch of haters in here who can't appreciate greatness. Jalen Brunson is a dog.
That's going on a reel, just so you know.
That's very real. That's what that is. What I'm saying.
That's why.
No, for real. Jalen Brunson, bro, he's a dog. The entire team, they're just. You see how OKC they bark at the end of the games? The Knicks don't have to do that because we know that they're dogs. We just know it.
They got shot collars on Thibodeau.
Yeah, bro. I see him twitching just randomly. I don't know what it is, but I understand.
Settle down, boy. Settle down.
Y'all go, you go ahead, Nas. I'll have the last thing.
No, I don't have much to say, man. I mean, I love Brunson. I think he's phenomenal. I think Gilbert Arenas is wrong. He is a superstar. From an output perspective, what he puts out there is superstarish. You know what I mean? I get he's not the name, which is wild because he plays in New York.
I was about to say he's got the market.
Yeah, he's got the market, which is wild that he's not like the name that he should be. But I think New York fans are overrated. I think they don't really put people on as much as they people think they do. Because even Patrick Ewing wasn't really a name like that back in his generation. You know what I mean? Like, really, it was just Melo and then that 24 hours of Linsanity. So it's like that's really it. But not to digress, yeah, I think Brunson's a superstar. That's my take. I think he's doing phenomenal. Honestly, it's wow. 4 straight 40-point games. Wow.
I mean, if 2 weeks of basketball with Linsanity is the height of New York basketball, that's sad, but it's been sad for them. I think Amari Stoudemire's beginning of his season before Melo was there was actually kind of cool. I don't know if you guys remember that. He was very dominant. That's when he left the Suns and joined the Knicks.
I think they were both there at the same time.
No. Melo got drafted later on.
Traded?
They traded for Gallinari and a couple other players.
Yeah.
What was that one dude's name? Landry Fields? He got traded to. But long story short, when I think of Brunson, that's the best thing that's happened to New York in a long time.
He's won more games than Melo did in the playoffs.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I feel like the Knicks right now are in a position where they can make like we said, they have the off season. And as well, man, this is more to up Jalen Brunson, man. It's amazing what he's doing without another like Robin, a real Robin. I mean, and he really is getting double teamed. He's got players that are way bigger than him. To average 44 points, that's some my player shit to me. And at the end of the day, man, when I look at him play, he is the epitome of what Thibodeau is. Like, literally, when I remember where I was bringing up the coaches, like, some players, are like, you have to coach those players, and then some players literally embody their coach. The Knicks are the embodiment of Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, Tibbs hasn't had this type of point guard since Derrick Rose.
And
like,
you
the
show
point guard that you could just rely on. Like, give him the ball. Every time he asks for it, give it to him.
He'll make something happen.
And it's funny that you bring up D-Rose because I was about to do that. I think it's awesome for Tibbs to have a good point guard. I think some coaches need a really good point guard. I think Doc Rivers, he actually does good with a good like James Harden, CP3, Rajon Rondo. Some coaches need someone who's just as smart as them because obviously Doc's not the best with adjustments. So
it's not the best at a lot of things.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. That's not what we're doing today. Because he should have done better with Dame. But at the end of the day, I think he's in a situation where, one, he's not sharing the ball with Luka. And we're hearing the rumors on Luka. I told y'all before this that players are happy when Luka checks out the game because they can finally play their basketball. But yeah, Jalen Brunson really is showing out. And I mean, when I think about it, it's weird that he wasn't in the most improved conversation. Like, now that I think about it, like season-wise, statistical-wise, a lot of things.
He was last year, but not this year because last year he had a huge jump.
I mean, I thought this year was more of a noticeable jump than last year.
Yeah, but it's difficult to say, to go from a stud to more of a stud. That's
the conversation we had. But he definitely did that, though. That's what's crazy. He definitely he went from all-star to superstar. If you don't think Jalen Brunson's a top 5 NBA scorer and facilitator, then I don't really. There's not a like he said about Rudy. There's not a conversation.
Is he the best guard in the East? Point guard.
I don't see why we don't think he's not.
Is he the best guard in the East?
I think he's the most complete guard in the East.
Yeah. What guard is better than him in the East?
He's the best point guard for sure.
I think Dame can give him a run for his
Mitchell
money.
can definitely give him a run for his money.
I think he's better than Mitchell. I'm going to say that wholeheartedly.
I think Mitchell has this weird thing where he can
possible.
just microwave up. Mitchell's got that Dwayne Wade microwave.
Mitchell, I feel like people, because he's been in Utah and Cleveland, don't realize that his microwave is him going from a 27-point per game score to a 35-point per game
That's
score.
what's
So it's
insane.
like, that's what I'm saying. So is that a microwave or is he just playing better? You know what I mean? Like,
he just elevates.
Exactly.
He does elevate the moment.
On an average basis, he's going to give you buckets. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. Mitchell can give him a run for his money, but I can see the argument that Brunson could be considered better.
Who plays better defense, Mitchell or Brunson?
Mitchell for sure.
You think so?
Mitchell for sure.
I actually think it's about the same.
Mitchell for sure.
I was about to say that.
I really do think that Mitchell is a little bit overrated defensively.
But he's still a better defender than Brunson. It's not like Brunson is some defensive
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that either of them are
caliber
great.
player. I think
But
Donovan Mitchell could
offensively,
make.
what about offensively? Like, I think
Brunson's
there's levels
a better
to their
offensive
game.
player.
Yeah, there's love. Their game is different. They don't have the same game. Brunson can play off the ball. I mean, not Brunson. Well, he can too, though. But Donovan Mitchell, I think he's a better off-the-ball scorer than Brunson. I think Brunson's a better on-the-ball scorer than Donovan Mitchell is.
And Mitchell's he's gonna attack the rim a lot more than you see with Brunson. Brunson he just scores everywhere.
He's just got a consistent.
He's got a
jumper.
post game. He's 6'1".
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, bro.
But yeah, that's my take there. Is that DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, still on this team. But moving on.
Wait, really quick comment. Really, one thing I wanted to say: Josh Hart is averaging 45 minutes a game in the playoffs.
He's played the most minutes. He's got like some type of record.
46, I think.
Yeah.
It might have gone up. I wanted to mention that real quick. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, he's a workhorse for sure. Mm-hmm. Moving on, I think these games were just yesterday. The Thunder and the Mavs tied up their series. A few things to talk about with that series. The Thunder, I mean, originally we were going to talk about how the Thunder just don't seem to slow down, but they did just slow down yesterday. So that's a little bit off track there. But what's you guys' opinion on the OKC Thunder, man? Are they legit? Are they a championship caliber team, or is this where they come to a stop?
I still think that they get over the Mavericks. I think that this is just a really good matchup for them. And the Mavericks figured out a way to slow down Shea, which goes back to my MVP argument. Like, they slowed him down the most throughout that. Jalen Williams still had a good game. Chet Holmgren still had a good game. But they kind of nullified Shea, and they figured out how to work around it. And that's also without Kyrie even having an amazing game. I don't even think that he had a good game. When we were watching the first two quarters, I think the first three quarters, he had 4 points. It's like nothing. Kyrie. So that was a good defensive and auxiliary piece like game. Like PJ Washington, I think he had 20-something points. I think that they lose the next game though, and I do think that this is over in 6.
I think the Mavs win this series personally.
I think it's the game 3. You know how they say game 3 is going to let me know? I think whoever wins game 3 is going to let me know who wins the series a lot of the time. No matter who's up 2-0 or 1-1, it's a pivotal game. Game 3s are always pivotal. I'll let you guys know after, but right now where I'm leaning, like right now, I'm kind of on. Man, it's weird. It's like 55% Mavs, 45% OKC. I feel like if OKC can get over this, I think OKC can go to the finals. Because they are. I think they have the Nuggets number right now. I'm pretty sure they have the Nuggets number.
That's going to be a tough
match. It is, but they do have their number during the season. But I will say, that duo, man, that Luka-Kyrie duo in the playoffs this year has been proven. And Kyrie's actually playing really good playoff basketball, statistically speaking. So I'm going to go with the Mavs. I got Mavs. Mavs in 7. I think this goes all the way.
All right, Mavs in 7. You got...
I got Mavs in 7, yeah.
I got OKC in 6, so we're going to come back, next week, and you guys are going to see that I'm right.
My Minnesota take is looking real good.
I was wrong, 100%.
Yeah, I was the only one who had your back, Ant.
I was wrong.
Now, staying on that series, though, when it comes to Luka Doncic, I mean, what do you guys feel about his playoff performance this year? Is he living up to your expectations?
No, that dude's hobbled. That dude's absolutely hobbled. You see him limping every single time. And there was twice that game where he landed on his foot weird, the same foot that he's been hobbling on. I mean, he just hurt, bro. Like, he's still doing great.
Man. I just feel like Luka's just one of those players where, like, you either get him or you don't. I feel like you're going to get the rebounds and assists, but the points is very sporadic to me. And at times, I feel like when you watch the Mavs play, everybody's so deflated because they're not having a good game if Luka's not having a good game. And he's kind of at that point in his career where I don't think he's realized that having a good game doesn't mean, like he said like 2 podcasts ago, having a good game doesn't mean I need to drop 30 points every game or 35. And he needs to unlock that. And that was something LeBron had to do. That was something Michael Jordan had to do with Kobe. And I think that's going to hinder him.
It takes the right teammates, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He has to
Yeah.
see somebody that, okay, I can rely on you.
Yeah.
He's got Tim Hardaway Jr.
He's got Kyrie Irving, though. And
Can he
can't
rely on him, though?
Yeah, I think Kyrie Irving's a proven Robin. He did it with LeBron. He won a championship. He's proven. I think Kyrie Irving as an alpha A is not a good thing.
I think he has consistency issues.
Yeah.
I really do think that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's been his MO in the playoffs forever. Now, that's like, oh man, I hate to say this because I'm not trying to generalize a group, but European players in general, they usually have that kind of. It's a lot rougher in the playoffs, and it's a lot more.
Oh no, I was talking about Kyrie.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm talking about like European players in general. Like it's a lot tougher in the playoffs. Like it's more of like this year has been 90s basketball. Like we're watching a 93-75 game right now in the fourth quarter. Like it's been about grinding it out. So when it comes to things like that wear and tear, like even Pau Gasol, we would watch Pau Gasol towards the end of his playoff runs. He'd be looking homeless and deflated. So I don't think he's built for those playoff runs just yet, body wise.
Yeah, I think from a playoff perspective, Doncic hasn't reached his full potential. I think he's too focused on I need to do as much as I possibly can to win games when in reality, the greatest players of all time win by doing the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to do what I do every single game. I'm not going to do anything extra. I'm not going to take a shot that I'm not comfortable with. I'm not going to allow you to put me in an uncomfortable position. I like to shoot from this specific spot from the floor. I'm shooting 65% this series. I'm going to continue to find that spot. Every pick that comes, I'm going to take it and go there. Every single down screen, I'm going to take it and go there. I'm going to pull up and I'm going to shoot. Luka's just trying to do every single step back three he can find, every single spin into a layup he can find, every single crazy pass he can find. He has to just, keep it simple. You know what I mean? And the greats will always tell you that. Just keep it simple. You don't got to do too much to win a basketball game. And that's why players like Jokic, you know what I mean? Like, takes his time. He's patient. He's like, keep it simple. I don't got to do too much.
Hot take. When's the last, we should really look at the MVP, finals MVP, and see that player and what he averaged that season. Because, I don't think that 30 points a game usage ever really translates to championships. I mean, if you really, really look at the big picture, LeBron never really averaged 30, and he won a couple final MVP. Curry, I don't think he really averaged 30. I mean, I could be wrong that the year he won it, but I don't think he averaged 30 that year either.
He did.
He did?
Yeah, LeBron also did.
Nope, LeBron's a 26, 28 guy. I don't think LeBron's ever.
LeBron's never
averaged had to average close to 33 points per game.
No, he's never averaged
in 2016.
He's averaged 30. He never averaged 30 and won that year. He averaged 28.
He
Yeah,
had
I'm
against the Warriors in 2016. There's
No,
way.
the Heat.
Not
Oh,
let's
yeah,
say
the
the
Heat.
season average per that season.
Oh, yeah,
not the
LeBron's
playoff
not-
run.
No, in the playoff runs, he's averaging 30.
No, not
Yeah.
the playoff. I'm saying that
Oh,
season.
yeah.
The style of basketball, I'm saying,
Yeah,
does
LeBron's
not
only averaged
translate.
30 twice in his career.
Yeah, but that style of basketball, that usage doesn't translate to championships to me. When I see a 35-point game score nowadays, it's a red flag to me. Because why is he scoring 35? Why is he taking up all these shots? That doesn't translate to championships. It's never really have, unless you're Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. That's
No,
just my take.
It doesn't. You look at every single player who was a high volume scorer by themselves, and what they looked like when they were winning championships, completely different. Michael
Yep.
Jordan averaged 35 points per game one year. I think 36 maybe. I think it was
And
35.
they were nowhere close to winning. I don't think they made the playoffs
Nowhere
that
close.
year.
When they won championships, he was a 28 points per game scorer. You know,
That's
what I mean?
what I'm
29,
taking you
30,
back
maybe,
on that,
30
yeah.
maybe, 31 maybe. You know,
Yeah.
Kobe in his 81-point game season had 35 points per game. When he finally got back to winning championships, he was averaging 27, 28. You know what I mean? So, the best players of all time, they realize it, and it hits them eventually. It's like, listen, I just need a group of guys who are ready to give it their all for me, and I'll give them my all. You know what I
It's
mean?
efficiency as well. Their efficiency goes throughout the window.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
just blows up.
That's
But
when they play their best basketball.
And that's what he needs. He needs to find his spots, pick them, and those are his spots. And also, I think he needs to develop a post-up game that's kind of like what LeBron did and Brunson have right now.
I think he has that. I think the issue is paying someone like him. He's obviously more than worth his contract, but I think it's hard when you play a guy like him who's going to be the main offensive system. It's hard to get additional pieces with him, and he's also not a good defender.
Yeah.
So now you have to worry about getting, these guys that can score when he's not on the court, that can also shoot because you need to surround him with shooters,
Yeah.
and they can also defend. Like those are expensive guys. Like you can't just afford.
good
That's why
ones,
they got
the good
Tim
ones.
Hardaway Jr. Like he's one of the GOAT pieces that they could have got. I don't mean that at all. Like not even.
Ultimately, I just don't think he's ready for a championship. But he's very young. He's gonna get there. He's super
Might not
talented.
win an MVP either. That's what's freaking crazy. He might not.
I think he
win an
will.
MVP.
No, I think he because he had a very good chance this year, and I think next year will be even better.
Yeah, it's just about surrounding him with the right team. This team that he has now came from the deadline, so there was chemistry issues there. But I think this is a great squad for them to look at. Okay, I see the pieces that work with Luka now. It's just about figuring out, how are we gonna, hide his defensive.
Get him off the ball as well.
Get him off the ball a little more.
That's a big one. That's a big one. I think that's the biggest one. Defensively, he stepped up. I think this year.
He's actually a good man defender.
Yeah, but I think getting him off the ball and becoming more of a off the ball scorer, like even Curry did it. Like Curry got running the baseline, getting off screens. LeBron had to learn how to do it. Dwayne Wade had to learn how to do it. So I agree with Nas on this take. I think Luka is not ready, 100%.
And that's a consensus. Luka Doncic, you are not ready this year, but I still think he gets past the Thunder. But
I blame his team though more than him. I will say that.
It's a little bit of both. I think it's 50-50. But either way, moving on to the last playoff series still going on. The Celtics and the Cavs have also tied that series up. Thank you to the Cavs for making a little bit of money yesterday because I was the only one in my group chat that bet on the Cavs to win that game. And I think they were like a plus 600. I was like, great job, Donovan Mitchell. But a couple things to take away from that. Of course, we're going to go back into the topic of Jayson Tatum has had a very disappointing playoff performances thus far. Can the Celtics win a championship as they're favored to do with Jayson Tatum performing this way?
I don't think that they can win a championship. It's very interesting though because I'm not like the biggest fan of Tatum.
Because of Tatum.
I think because of Tatum's play and the fact that they're missing out on other production from KP, I don't think that they could win right now. I think that we're gonna get a Tatum game, like that vintage game where he drops like 45 points, and we love him. I think we're due for that this game or next game. But man, like he's primarily a shooter. Most of his shots in the regular season they weren't assisted. If you look at his stats this time, he's relying on other people setting him up. He's not really able to create his own shot. He's, going through so many different defensive matchups. They're giving him so many different looks, and I don't think it's working for him. But you also have to look at the flip side. Like, he's playing so poorly because the other team is putting so much effort into him defensively that the Celtics are playing great overall. Like, this is not the worst thing that could be happening for them. He's still a great defender. He's still a good rebounder. He's able to make passes. He's impacting the game still, and he's getting other people open because he's drawing two people on him every time.
Yeah. I think this year is his year to win. This is the easiest year for him to win. I'm not trying to take away from these teams, but I mean, if Minnesota loses this series, right, you have no proven team left. But you have a person who's been there before, and he's the only one. I think this is his year. It's kind of sad to see the level of basketball he's playing, but also he's playing very unselfishly. Most people in his position start jacking up shots. Their volume goes up. They start worrying about his numbers. I like that little note right there that you don't hear him complaining. You don't hear him saying, "I'm not making shots," and he's not he's got that KD vibe where like he's not an outspoken person. He's not gonna let you know how he feels. He's gonna do it on the court. I think we are due for a couple good games because he hasn't given us a Tatum like this was a Tatum game. He hasn't gave us that yet. But at the end of the day, it is underwhelming. It is not pretty, but his team's so freaking stacked, bro. You have two all-star guards. You have an all-star forward with Jaylen Brown.
You got Stephen Curry apparently.
You got Jayson Tatum. You got Kristaps Porzingis. You have Al Horford. You have Pritchard, who's a great role player now. They're so freaking deep. It's like, does he really need to average 30, 25, 28 points, or could it be a cool 24 and then give me some crazy games in the finals and go win your final MVP?
That's what I want. I want him to average 24 points a game just efficiently.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, his primary role could be defending right now with the matchups that he's in because, you know, Jaylen Brown's able to get his. Derek White, like I said, he's prime Steph Curry. I don't know what happened.
But you know what happened with me with Jayson Tatum and what I started looking at him? I stopped looking at him as an offensive scorer. He's not an efficient scorer. That's never been his MO.
Because he's a jump shooter.
He's a volume. When you look at a jump shooter, okay, you're a volume guy. Okay, we get it. You need to have your 20 to 21 shots. Yeah. Everybody else, you know, I mean, other than Brown, keep it around 5 or 6. You know, unless you're having a Derek White game, which he's been balling. That's their X factor is Derek White. I think that's a great pickup, and I thought they were going to miss a step defensively with missing Marcus Smart, but Drew Holiday, we could arguably is a better defender than
Derek White is also a great defender right after him.
Arguably could be a better defender than Marcus Smart, and you can put him in more positions offensively than Marcus Smart. They got 2 Marcus Smarts, better prototypes.
One that could shoot, one that's a good slasher.
And the other one, Drew could shoot, arguably, too. But not to hold you guys up anymore, but, you know, just looking at that architect of the team, he doesn't need to do much, but we need efficiently, like we were talking about earlier with the Ghosts, we need more efficiently. So if you give me 27 with, like, you know, 6-7, go ahead and go get your final MVP. And if Minnesota ends up cleaning these boys out, then I think they have every chance to win a championship. But it is all on Jayson Tatum still. I don't want to take away from that. His team's great, but it's still on the best player. Because when they lose, who are we blaming? Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, to answer the original question, I don't think they can win a championship with Jayson Tatum playing this way. It does not matter how well White plays, how well Brown plays, how well Drew plays, how well KP plays. It does not matter how great they play. They're going to be matching up against either the Wolves or the Nuggets is the favorite to get there, right? So they can't that is not enough to keep up with the Nuggets offense. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
That is not enough to scare the Wolves defense. You know what I mean? Like, you want Brown to be your 30-point scorer? Cool. We do too. You know what I mean? Like,
the Warriors said that.
You want exactly. you want White to average 20? Cool. So do we.
We just don't want Tatum to score.
Y'all want Tatum to average 18? So do we.
But the thing is, it's working. That's what's scary. It's working.
Against who?
Against the hobbled Heat and the Cavs.
Against who? You know what Gilbert Arenas said the other day? Jayson Tatum hasn't even played against a competitive team for real. Jayson Tatum didn't even play against Jimmy Butler. He played against Jimmy's butler.
Those are bars.
Like, we're talking about the
Cavs. Zero.
The Cavs are a better team. I'll give them that. But, like, at the end of the day, like, are they really that much better than any other team? Like, I'm a Jayson Tatum fan, and you listen to me. You know what I mean? Like, the Celtics can't win. They cannot win with Jayson Tatum playing like this, because when the finals come and he's going up against these guys who are showing out every single night, they are going to need Jayson Tatum to show out, because the game plan is to make Jaylen Brown take all the shots. The game plan is to slow down Jayson Tatum, and if you come in with the idea that we can survive by doing that. So you're telling me you can survive by feeding into the team's defensive game plan?
I think he can survive until the finals.
Exactly.
But after the finals, that's what I'm saying. He has to step up. It cannot be this, and that's why we all are agreeing that.
So
this is
they
cool
can't
right
win.
now.
Yeah.
This is
Wait,
cool right now.
did they beat the Knicks?
Do
you think the Celtics beat the
I
Knicks?
think they can beat the Knicks.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can.
The Knicks don't have enough.
Yeah, the Knicks just don't have enough firepower.
And they match up with them defensively.
I think you guys are sleeping on the Knicks. I think that they match up very, very well against the Celtics. They have a lot of size, a lot of length. They're very, very hard workers. Like, those dudes hustle constantly.
Let's assume
they don't take games off.
Let's assume Porzingis comes back. They would have to stop 3 guys that are playing great basketball right now.
Do you think it's safe to have Porzingis come back?
Safe?
And this late into their run?
Bro, listen, I'm a Nazi when it comes to winning championships. You're coming back. I don't give a damn.
I did not see that coming.
I don't give a damn. When it comes to winning championships, you better come the F back. Like, what the hell?
The way I look at the Knicks and Celtics series potentially is, like, you got one guy, he goes to work every day. Every day he's at work at McDonald's. He's going to get his 40 hours. Then the way I look at the Celtics is like a doctor. He can go to the office, see about 2 patients, and he's getting still his yearly salary is $100,000. But when you go to McDonald's and you work every day and only make $12 an hour, you're only going to make so much. And what I'm getting at with this analogy is the Celtics don't have to put in as much work to beat the Knicks as the Knicks need to do to beat the Celtics. And that's where I think talent is going to take over pretty much.
I agree with that. I think the Knicks have to be a lot more perfect than the Celtics do, but I think the Celtics have a lot of people on that team that are very streaky players that have a lot of issues, especially if KP comes back. The Celtics is I don't think it's a perfect matchup, but like it's like an ideal matchup if you're looking for a team that consistently underperforms.
That Celtics team probably arguably has one of the best starting fives in the last 6 to 7 years.
It's the best starting five since KD Warriors.
I was about to say, I really do think so.
And that's a lot of, and that's why a lot of people get mad at that team, man, because they should be a lot better in the postseason. They should not have lost a game to the Heat. They should not be losing a game to the Cavs. They shouldn't lose a game to the finals. They should be one of those teams that goes 16-1, or 17-0, and they're not doing it, and that's not a good look because they were arguably everybody had the Celtics here and then everybody down. So I think we all can come to agree that Jayson Tatum needs to step up.
Yeah,
Fuck Jayson Tatum.
Okay. Here we go. But yeah, to finish off the Jayson Tatum conversation, the last thing I also wanted to bring up is I think he has the same issue as Luka. I think his game needs to mature. I think he takes way too many bad shots. That has to stop at some point in his career. If he truly wants to be an MVP candidate for real, that has to stop. Golly, Jason, he takes some bad shots, bro. He takes some bad shots. Like somebody was saying on a reel that I was listening to today, he has this idea that he has to be like the run stopper. I was like, bro, you don't gotta be the run stopper. You don't gotta knock down a dagger to stop a run. You know what I mean? How about locking up? You know what I mean? How about getting a stop? That'll stop a run. You know what I mean? How about passing it to somebody else to score?
And he could do that. He's an elite defender. He's borderline elite, I should say.
Yeah, he's a great defender as well. So it's his mentality has to change. He has to mature as a basketball player. He has to reach that level of, the difference between him and Luka is Luka hasn't really had that squad that he can depend on and feel like, okay, this is my chance to develop other parts of my game to improve the talent around me. Jayson Tatum, he's there now. You know what I mean? He's had the talent around him his entire career. He got drafted onto.
He had a Robin his whole year.
He literally got drafted onto a team with Kyrie Irving, and when Kyrie Irving left, he then had the rise of Jaylen Brown. You know what I mean? So he's had the talent to say listen, I don't gotta take this shot. You know what I mean? If he just slows the game down and just thinks about it for just a second, and just looks at the shot that he's about to take, he's like, damn. Let me pass this shit. Why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Why am I sidestepping every time I touch the ball?
Bro, he also works himself into those bad shots. You watch him kill.
Yes,
the clock
he dribbles into those shots.
Did you see him against Max Strus? Did you see how he's locking him up? He was dribbling for 8 to 10 seconds every time trying to make something happen. Max Strus did not let him do anything. That man had him in the torture chamber.
He also has the same problem Jaylen Brown does is I think they're better. They think they're better ball handlers than what they really are. Sometimes bomb to the basket is a lot better than them trying to break down and break someone. And that was Jaylen Brown's problem, and I think that's also Jayson Tatum's problem.
He's got too many moves.
Ball
He's
stoppers.
too good.
And that team's too good to be a ball. They're literally an Olympic team. They're too good to be a ball stopping team. They're way too good.
Facts. Jayson Tatum, man, you gotta do better. That's where we're gonna wrap it up, man. That is all our hoop topics for the day. But that is the end of our show for today, man. This is episode 6 of Hoop Talk, the podcast. Once again, it's Hoop Talk Nas. We got TyDolla and we got Orlando, aka Pluto. We are here at Orlando's crib, man. Thank you for giving us this space. Thank you, Luna, for not chewing up my mics.
She out for the count.
It's been a great episode, man. That's all we got, man. Let's check it out. Let's talk next week. Let's Hoop Talk next week, man.